people don't know what to believe anymore, and I think it's a combination of things. I think that people are craving some type of authenticity. Ever since the birth of social media, everything has gone fake, phony. Everything's a lie. You can't trust anything, and people became very authentic and started catering to what they think that people want to hear and see, rather than just stay true to themselves. And that spun out of control. On top of that, I think that nobody trusts the mainstream media. Nobody really trusts much of any media these days, and so people are just exploring different avenues to find real information, and for whatever reason, I think a lot of people really trust the information that I put out, and I think that's the big draw. And vulnerability. We also, from social media, I think this stemmed, but everything you see on social is fake. And so when I started the podcast, I started with former colleagues of mine, and I don't know how it is in Australia. I couldn't imagine it's much different, but veterans really struggle. There's a suicide epidemic going on here right now, and especially amongst the veteran community and law enforcement, firefighters, a lot of public service. And so what I wanted to do is bring men on, and women who had been to war and had faced those kind of challenges coming home, trying to reintegrate into civilian life. And by doing that, they get very real, very vulnerable. They talk about how bad life got after service. They talk about cheating on their wives. They talk about suicide attempts. They talk about drug addiction, alcohol addiction, how their whole life crumbled in front of them, to include my own, and then what it took to get them out of it, how they got out of it, what they're doing now. And by doing that, I mean, these guys come on and they really, and women, and they're giving you a glimpse behind the curtain that nobody gets to see. I mean, when people think of special ops, intelligence agencies, they think that, that these people are invincible. And this shows them a very different, dark side of what's actually behind that curtain. And, by doing that, it brings a lot of people hope. And I think they realize, one, maybe I don't have it as bad as I thought I did, because here's this guy that went through all of this. And for the people that can relate to, what people like me have gone through reintegrating, and they see me come out of it, and they see the lows that the lows that you go through, I think that gives other people who are in that same journey a lot of motivation and realization that they can pull out.
Can you tell us a bit about your own experiences, how you were shaped by what you saw and how you shook off the despair afterwards?
Man, that's a lot of stuff. I think I learned a lot of stuff by my time in service, and it did shape me as a man. And I think the one thing that I really took away is accountability, being able to take accountability and own your mistakes, and that's carried me through a lot. Even earlier Sunday this week, I made a mistake, and I had put some information out on my show that was not accurate. And as soon as I found out that wasn't accurate, I made a public statement saying that the information that came out of the show was not accurate, and I wanted to correct the record immediately. And to be honest, I thought it was going to destroy my entire operation here. But in fact, it actually did quite the opposite. And by taking ownership of my mistakes and in admitting that there was false information coming out of the podcast. I think it actually did quite the opposite and brought a lot more credibility to what I'm doing here, because I am able to admit, my faults.
I think probably people do. We're all aware we make mistakes, and we're all aware that we try and cover them up and other people try and cover them up. And when you're honest about it, that probably does really bring out a bit of better angel, not just in the person doing the confessing, but the one hearing it as well.
It definitely appeared that way. And it always has. I've always been one to fess up and own my mistakes and errors. And that's how we learn, and like you said, we all make mistakes. I think letting your ego get in the way of coming clean, it just never works out in the end.